Pickles? Can you hear me? Okay. I think she's having, oh, can you hear me?
I was having problems unmuting, yes.
All right, and you're from the public, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Michelle Visconti, are you from the public? All right. Diane, are you from the public?
Hi, yes, I'm from the public.
Okay. William, are you from the public? I'm slowly letting people in. The list is getting shorter here, guys, so just takes a second. Holly B, are you from the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, bye.
You seem to have an echo on your end. If you have two computers or a phone and a computer on, if you could mute one. Okay. Leanne's iPad, are you from the public?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I have a lkat at stny.rr.com. Are you from the public?
Yes, I am. I apologize. I was muted.
No problem. Okay, Tracy Fitzgerald, are you from the public?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Josh B. You're from the public. It looks like you named yourself. That's perfect. Jennifer Farrell, are you from the public?
I am. Yes.
Thank you. I have a Amy, just a plain Amy. Is that the same? Hello?
Hello?
Okay, you seem to have a rough connection there, but are you from the public?
Yes.
Okay.
I own a business on Water Street.
Okay. Let me find you. Okay, I have a David. Can David hear me? Have we figured that out? Not yet, okay. Okay, I have a Bobby. Can you hear me? Bobby? A Winquest? Can you hear me? A Jennifer Johnson? I have another Bobby Visconti. Are you from the public? Hello? And NAIDA, are you from the public? Oh, looks like Winquest, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and you're from the public?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, this is Bobby Visconti. I can hear you.
Oh, perfect, thank you. Thank you all for being so patient. Just a couple more minutes here. Okay, Jennifer Johnson, can you hear me? Patrick Gage, are you from the public?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I have a handful of stragglers here. I'm just going to go through it again, see if you can hear me. I have okay, here's a phone number, 1-800-677-8506. Can you hear me? Okay, they're gone. Okay, I have a 951-252-3956. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, and hold on. And you're from the public?
Yes, homeowner.
What's your name?
Mike Hansford. My wife's is on my laptop, so.
Okay. No, oh, okay, great. I have a phone number, iPhone 607-542-2388. Can you hear me? I have a Kaylee Gifford. Oh, she's connecting still. I have an 800-677-8506. Can you hear me? David, were you able to get through? Can you hear me? Okay, it looks like we got everybody on. Give me 2 seconds just to mute everybody. I have just a Bobby, B-O-B-B-I. Can you hear me?
So I'm actually talking on her behalf. She just texted me and wanted to let you know that she doesn't have a microphone or a camera, but she can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. So I'm gonna just put from the public and I'm gonna mute her, but that'll be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So when it comes her turn, you can speak, right?
Well, she's gonna try recalling in because she cannot hear you, as it turns out.
Oh, okay.
See you,
All
but
right.
she
All right. I will look for that. Okay, the only stragglers, there's a Kaylee Gifford. Can you hear me?
Can she hear me? Oh, she
Yep.
can hear
Can you hear me? Kaylee
Yeah.
Gifford?
her. Amy and Seth Kerr.
All right, at this point, it looks like everybody's on. We might have a couple people join in the meantime. What we'll do is let me just get everybody muted. And to start this meeting, I think I have, oh, someone's not muted. There you are. I'm gonna mute you, Kaylee, and we'll get back to it. I think I have everybody muted there. Okay. Oh, here's one more. Danielle, can you hear me okay? And you're from the public, I'm assuming?
Yes, I can. And yes, I am.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, that should have it. So I am going to pass it over, let me just mute everybody. I'll unmute the planning board members. If you can just try to keep quiet in the background. The planning board has to open the meeting to get started. We're getting started a little late here. It looks like we have everybody on though, and we'll go from there. Sound good? So Art Stillwell, if you unmute, Marcia Weber, you're unmuted. Martha Tober, you're unmuted. Moira French, you're unmuted. Vicky, you're unmuted. And Vinny, you're unmuted. That should be the whole planning board. Am I missing anyone? Right. Stephanie, you wanna kick them off?
I'll actually pass it over to Vinny to start the meeting.
He has to unmute himself first.
Vinny, if you go ahead and you can call the meeting to order.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the June 3rd Planning Board meeting to order. And I need a motion first to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay.
Wait, who made the motion?
So-
Vicky? And who
Yeah.
seconded?
I did.
Marcia seconded. Thank you.
Okay, we will move right over to new business. And the public, well, no, first Stephanie.
Okay.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a rundown of how the meeting will go. First, we'll have Mike O'Connell speak with Larson Design, and he will give us a background of the project, a brief overview, and then we will move into the public hearing. When we move into the public hearing, each individual will have 2 minutes to speak. If you wish not to speak, just say no comment. We will unmute each individual person for those 2 minutes and then mute you right after, just to keep a little bit of order because there's so many participants here. It will be timed. We'll give you a warning when it's almost up, and then we'll proceed to mute. And then each speaker must be both appropriate and considerate in their remarks. The planning board reserves the right to remove any individual from the meeting. And attendees are to understand that at no time shall the planning board or applicant respond to the public comment. This is a public hearing, so any comments will be heard. We'll take note of everything, and then any mitigation or comments will be discussed at the final meeting. That would be either next month or the month after, once we have final application and everything submitted by the applicant. I know, Chelsea, do you have the list of the contact information for any written comments?
Yep, hold on.
Okay.
There. Sorry, does everybody see that on your screen, those of you on computers?
Yes.
Okay.
So those are just the basic rules that I just read off. And then at the bottom, you'll see for more information, questions, or comments following the meeting, you can contact STC, which would be myself, Stephanie Ezzi, or Chelsea Robertson. Any written comments must be mailed to the Village of Painted Post within 1 week. So that would be next Wednesday, June 10th. Or you can email them to myself or Chelsea. If you needed further information, any of the documents or anything provided by Tioga, we can send those on to you as needed. If you are not on a computer to see, the emails for myself and Chelsea are syezzi, YEZZI, and that is at stcplanning.org. And Chelsea's would be C Robertson, ROBERTSON at stcplanning.org. For those of you who would like to provide any written comments that you would like to mail to the Village of Painted Post, the address there is 261 Steuben Street. That's P.O. Box 110. And of course, Painted Post, New York, 14870. Otherwise, we can, unless Chelsea, you have anything else that you'd like to add to that, we can move to Mike O'Connell for a brief overview of the project.
I have nothing to add.
Okay.
Okay, I am here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, and I have a picture up on the screen. Does that work for you, Mike?
Yes, I don't have anything to share on the screen other than what you guys have, so that picture's perfect. Okay, well, good evening, everyone. As Stephanie said, my name is Michael O'Connell. I'm a civil engineer and project manager with Larson Design Group here in Corning. Larson is representing Tioga Container in their application for a site plan approval and special use permit with the Village of Painted Post Planning Board. Tonight's meeting is a little unconventional. I apologize for that, but it's about hearing from the public. We have a lot of people on the line, so for the sake of time, I'm going to try to keep this project summary very brief and give everyone time to speak. As most of you know by now, the proposed project is a trucking, storage, and distribution facility that includes a 600,000 square foot warehouse, 2 attached 2-story office buildings, and associated paved parking and loading areas. The facility is needed to expand Tioga's current facility in Tioga, PA. The project is being proposed on approximately 49 acres that was the former site of the Ingersoll Rand Foundry, now owned by the Village of Painted Post. The site will be accessed from West Water Street. The project site is located in the village's I-2 industrial zone. The proposed project, as designed, is compliant with all current zoning regulations. The project site is considered environmentally impacted and is listed with the DEC under their Brownfield Cleanup Program. The site underwent a PCB remediation project shortly after the plant was closed in 1985. After the cleanup, deed restrictions were placed on the property, severely limiting potential uses of the site and outlining soil management requirements of new development. The proposed project is considered to be an acceptable use under these restrictions, and the applicant is prepared to work with DEC to meet the development requirements. The large impervious surfaces proposed are ideal for encapsulating the remaining impacted materials, minimizing future exposure. The village has received both conceptual and preliminary design plans and reports in previous submissions. The applicant is currently in the process of completing the requirements for a New York State Environmental Quality Review Type 1 action. The Village of Painted Post has been declared the lead agency. Part of those requirements include tonight's public hearing. Also part of the secret process, we are currently completing our evaluation of the impacts from the proposed development, including but not limited to stormwater management, wetlands, traffic impacts, impacted soils, site lighting, and visual impacts. Detailed information will be provided to the village in coming weeks. The applicant is committed to working with the village to mitigate these types of impacts wherever reasonably possible. In summary, we feel the project is an excellent reuse and restoration of an abandoned property. It would put the parcel back on the tax rolls and bring additional jobs into the area. We hope you consider the positives that this project would provide to the village. Thank you.
Now, Vinny, I believe we're okay to go ahead and you can open the public hearing.
Hold on. Well, I gotta unmute everybody.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's okay.
Some PD. All right, I have the planning board unmuted, I believe. Can you all hear?
Yes.
Okay, go. Vinny, you guys need to make a motion to open the public hearing.
I need a motion to open our public meeting.
I
Public hearing.
second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Someone needs to first make a motion.
Who made the motion?
Vinny did.
No.
Vinny can't make the motion. Someone
No,
else.
no, no. So Vicky, you make the motion and I'll second it.
Okay, I make the motion.
Okay, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Okay, so move.
Okay. So what we'll do is I'm going to walk through each of the people, and there's some people that I didn't talk to at the beginning that they came in while we were all talking. So I'm going to walk through everybody that is, hold on, just found another one, which is considered a member of the public. We will time you. You have 2 minutes to speak. And then we'll move on to the next person. If that sounds good, let me just make sure I'm ready to start going down the list. I'm trying to keep, oh, we have a couple people that keep signing in and out, and I'm trying to make sure you get in. I'm assuming you're having some problems. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing the screen because it will make my life a little easier if I can see everybody. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and start with the first person, if I can get there. Come on. Okay, the first person is, I'm going to ask to unmute, is public Alan Carpenter.
No comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Well, that was easy. Okay, next person in the public is public Alice. I've unmuted you.
Okay, I'm Alice Berniak. I live on West High Street in Painted Post. I've lived here for almost 80 years. And I have a few questions later on. I'd like to know about the size of the vehicles that are going to be going on West Water Street up and down. I'd like to know what the shift times are going to be. I see looks like it might be two couple of shifts, you know. And who's going to be responsible for the maintenance of the road there on West Water Street? Because once you get a lot of vehicles, heavier vehicles than what we're used to, I'd like to kind of know some of these things. Other than that, I've been here long enough to know that I've watched the foundry. Cars go in and out ever since I was a little child and walking the abutment along there when the river was in a different place, I should say. but these are things I kind of welcome this. I hope that the people on West Water Street um, have a great consideration too. I'm concerned too about this, but we're kind of used to having transportation and cars going in and out there. It's just going to be a little difficult having heavier vehicles. So I'm hoping that you'll kind of address this to the public as far as the size of the trucks and the shifts and the responsibility of the maintenance there of the road. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Okay. Apologize, people are still joining, so I'm just trying to keep up with them.
Chelsea, I just wanted to let you know in the chat we had a question for multiple viewers.
Okay.
And I said for anyone that has multiple viewers, once we unmute you and ask you for comment, just let us know.
Okay. Okay, so next up, I'm unmuting Amy. There's three Amy's here, so this one just says Amy.
Hi, my name's Amy Kerr. I'm with Amy Sunshine Center in Painted Post. I know my audio is not great and I apologize for that. We are on West Water Street and we have a before and after school care program that we run out of the basement of the church on West Water Street. And we're licensed to have about 100 kids here. And my concern is we frequently use Hodgman Park. So I just want to make sure that the roads remain safe with all of the traffic that's going by, as well as parent pickup and drop off. I don't want to see any accidents or fatalities with these trucks that are going to be going through. And it does say 16 hours per day, 6 days per week. So that's probably our entire operating time. I'm all for job creation and all that jazz, but I am even more for child safety. So I hope that that's addressed and that we can look for maybe stoplights or stop signs that could go in on West High Street to mitigate the traffic issue and allow for safe crossing. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Okay. Well, I'm looking for, oh, there you are. Sorry. Okay, next up is Amy and Seth Kerr.
Hello. Am I being heard?
Yes.
Hello, yes, I'm Seth Kerr. I'm the director of Amy Sunshine Center, the before and after school care program located at the First Baptist Church on West Water Street. A lot of my concerns mostly have to do with traffic. As Amy said just a few moments ago, we are licensed for about 100 kids to come back and forth here every day. And if this project goes through, I would really like to see some very conservative traffic control devices on West Water Street. I know currently, you know, there's no stop sign on West Water Street at the intersection of Chemung. Having groups of kids walk back and forth across that intersection, back and forth to Hodgman Park, I'd like to see stop signs. You know, it has been a concern of mine for a while now. You know, thankfully everybody sees us, and there's never been an issue. Yeah, so I guess that's my biggest concern is crossing control, safety control, crossing that intersection. I mean, it's a park. There's lots of people that go, kids riding their bikes, and that's what I would like to see. I'm also curious about how traffic congestion is going to work on West Water Street. I know at certain times of the day, the bank right next door to this church here, their drive-through traffic backs up into West Water Street. Yesterday, as I was on the road, I saw traffic backed up both coming from the east and the west, waiting in line to get into the bank. So I'm just wondering, how that's going to be, and I would like to see some very, very conservative safety traffic controls. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up is Amy Arcuri, please.
Hi, no comment at this time.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up is Bob Letcher. Bob?
Yeah, sorry, I'm driving.
Oh, that's sorry.
I guess I just recently found out today about this meeting, and I'm sure a lot of other people on this call could say the same thing. I just have a lot of questions because this is the first time I've heard about this project, and I'm not sure, what the planning board and how it was made public and how the proceedings are being made public, other than this first public meeting. So my concerns are, how is Paint and Post as a whole being fed information about this project and any other projects that have been on or potentially could fit into this space with now it sounds like I guess special regulations you're looking to turn around that's already on the land, and if they do turn around, what other opportunities, what other companies would be able to fit into that slot that would not create the traffic issue that we are very concerned about. So I guess the response to moving forward, how the information is being disseminated, and then also what are the other potential options. And that ends my comment.
Thank you, Bob. All right, next up is Bobby, B-O-B-B-I. Can you hear me?
It's in the chat, no comment at this time.
Okay. Okay, next up is Bobby Visconti.
You hear me?
I can.
Okay. I actually have a question and I have a comment. He mentioned that he was bringing jobs to Paint and Post, and as far as I know, it's a multi-million-dollar company. So what jobs is he actually bringing to Paint and Post? I don't really see anybody. I don't see where that's bringing any jobs to the area here, for one, because it's already an established company. And my comment is, I would like an answer to that question if he gets a chance. And also, I have a comment about the actual planning board, if I may. We received a letter, I think, give or take a week ago, and it was not postmarked. Somebody just dropped it off in our mailbox. They went door to door and put them only on West Water Street. I mean, this is a Paint and Post thing, and they just put them in, like, I think 7 to 9 mailboxes, give or take, on West Water Street, and that's unacceptable. So I would like to just say that, trying to keep it nicely, I'm not happy with the planning board president for doing it this way, or the planning board themselves. I mean, I just think that's not a proper way to bring something like this up, such an important event up like this to this area. And with that, I yield. I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up is Danielle. I asked you to, there you are. Okay.
Yes. Hi, so my name's Danielle Kenny. I live on Park Place. So I've got just a couple of questions, and my apologies for not being able to dive a little deeper into, what the development and the project is. But I'm wondering what the timeline is once, if you do get the approval and your funding, how long is this project actually going to take? All of the extra construction vehicles, is it going to be 12 months? Is it going to be 2 years that we're going to have the construction and the local people having to be a part of that? Are you committed to any other investment into the local community, into the village? And also, this is going to be kind of a heavy burden on an already stressed emergency services department. Our fire department, oversees not only Painted Post, but Riverside, and provides a lot of support to Corning and other communities. So what type of impact is this going to have on a volunteer fire department, a short staff police department, and all of the other services that we provide? That's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Danielle. Next up is Elizabeth May. And I know you came in and out a couple times, so hopefully you can speak. Oh, there you are.
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm here with my dad. So I'll go first if that's okay. So I live in the only standing house in the Village Square block. And so of course, with all the COVID stuff, I've been staring out my window that faces West Water Street now for about 2.5 months. So I see all the walking traffic and driving traffic daily for about 8 hours. I am very concerned. I have 2 children of my own, and then, as has been stated many times by people so far, the number of children and teenagers, adults that I see walking around, coming to and from the park, walking obviously just around on the blocks. We have skateboarders, bikers, and it is very, very concerning to me to think about big trucks and a lot of obviously an increase in traffic coming through here. And also very concerned with the noise level that will be created by this. Obviously, living on this street, I hear the trains, I hear the highway, and the thought of adding more noise pollution to that is very disconcerting. My last concern is with regards to real estate. I'm a former real estate agent in the area. I am very, very concerned about the impact that it's going to have on the ability for people to be able to sell their homes in the future once this is built. I think about the possibility of selling this house and getting out of here before it's built, simply because I don't know who would be buying a house where they're going to have this kind of traffic coming through. This is just, again, my thought based on my experience. So thank you very much for hearing this.
Thank you.
I'm very much against the project. I don't think it's needed. We have a park that this will cover the whole front of the park and around the back side of it, the south end, and removing forest and so forth, adding pollution to the air. It is not going to be aesthetic. It's not going to help the environment. It's just an eyesore. The noise pollution, air pollution, I don't need that. I'm an older man. I live on Steuben Street. My daughter is here on West Water. I'm only a stone throw away from Water Street. I don't need to hear that at my age. I want some peace and quiet. Between the train and now tractor trailers on the other side of me, that's a little bit much. And I question how I could sell my property. If this would have occurred before I ever bought these properties, I would have never bought them. I mean, really. This is going to depreciate the value of homes in this immediate area. So please take that into consideration. And can the public expect a referendum on this whole proposal so that it can be made public and we can vote rather than the council, the board, chosen few, doing the electoral vote and speaking for the public. I want to be heard and I want to vote. Is that reasonable? That's it.
Thank you. Next up is Aaron Phillips. Aaron Phillips. Give it a second. Okay, I'm gonna come back to Aaron. Next up is Georgiana Laptop. Oh, you're muted still. You'll have to unmute yourself. Sorry, there you go.
Good evening, everyone, my neighbors, friends, the public. I am the owner of the Crafting Cottage, which is in the Hodgman house across from Hodgman Park. And my business consists of having guests that attend classes, workshops, as well as they stay at the inn part. And they love the bucolic setting. They come to the Crafting Cottage to get away from life and to sit on the front porch in warm weather, relax, craft, be with friends. When I got this information, I was very upset for the very fact that basically we're taking the small Westwater Street and converting it into a mini version of I-86. From the count of the trucks and the employees' cars that would be coming back and forth 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, let's just move Westwater Street right up to I-86. It would make it that much easier. So I would like to think that the Larson Design Group can think of a way of creating perhaps a bypass, very similar to what Corning had to do, because there were issues with the 4-lane highway coming down through Corning. And so they created the bypass. And as a matter of fact, the mayor of Painted Post at the time supported that bypass because apparently Painted Post had an issue with a rotary, a roundabout, that was very unsafe. And so I would like to think that we will consider a major highway, which is what this would be, going up and down Westwater Street, impacting the safety of children, people attending the Baptist church, personally, my guests, my neighbors' children, people who just enjoyed going to Hodgman Park. That whole scene will be ruined. So I would like to think there has got to be, given all the property that is there, we can certainly figure a way, because I know I can't say you can't build this facility because the zoning says it's okay. But I will say you have got to be crazy to think it's okay to make Westwater Street into a mini I-86. You just cannot think that that's going to be okay. So I sincerely hope this will be reconsidered. And I will be sending other questions through the written format. And I do hope there will be other ways for the public who didn't really get a fair chance to hear about this will have a chance. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is Henry Farna. And I apologize ahead of time if I'm butchering names. Henry?
Okay, can you hear me now?
There you are. Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I totally agree with several other people that the project is ill-founded. The first and most important is the highway access. That small street, the Westwater Street, should definitely not be infected. And there's no reason why the plans, if it does go ahead, which for several other reasons it shouldn't, but if it does go ahead, there should be a direct road out to the I-86 Painted Post exit so the truck traffic can go out there probably somewhere around the back of the school and then up to the highway into the exit so that those trucks can come and go without disrupting a residential neighborhood, a park, a daycare center, and everything else that's there. The second thing is that this company uses molded plastic packaging. And I'm wondering if there's been any evaluation of the fumes that'll come out and affect the school, because a prevailing wind would either put those fumes from any plastic molding into the school or into the residential neighborhood. Very rarely does the wind blow back across the river. And the third thing is I support the idea of a referendum. This thing impacts the whole village. If people are paying a huge amount of property taxes as it is, and then to have something that would come in and devalue their homes is just not acceptable. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up is Holly B. Holly.
Hi. I just want to thank everybody for what you guys have done. I think it's a great idea. I think the planning board has done a great job bringing more jobs in here. And I think it's an amazing idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Jennifer Farrell.
Hello.
There you are. Okay.
I also share concerns like several others had said about children's safety in the area. I live off of Brainerd Place, so my backyard is part of Chemung Street, and I have 2 children, so we often go to the parks. And there's also many other children there that go as well. So I'm very concerned with that, children's safety as well, and the amount of traffic that would bring to not only to Water Street, the entire area as a whole. Having so many trucks going in and out and having traffic will be an issue. I didn't know what time operation hours the warehouse plant's gonna be open. So since my backyard is pretty much gonna be almost touching their backyard at that point, I didn't know light wise what that was gonna bring into my home, and possibly noise. But that's it for me. And thank you for the time to speak.
Hey, thank you. Okay. Next up is Jessica Smith. Jessica? Jessica, do you have any comments?
Hi, this is Dan Smith on behalf of Jessica.
Dan Smith.
Longtime resident, over 30 years. Just like to say, I agree with what Holly B had said. I think this is a great project, a great asset to the village. Everything that used to happen down there on the Water Street end, the foundry drains and the traffic always used to be there for years and years and years. Anytime we get a white or blue collar business into the village to help enhance it, I'm all for it. So thank you for the committee and the project, and I'm looking forward to this business. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Josh. I'm unmuting you now or asking you to unmute. Josh?
I have no comments at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chelsea.
Yes.
I just wanted to let you know that Aaron Phillips wrote in the chat that there are no comments at this time. I know we were...
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Next up is Lori.
I have no comment this time.
Okay. I apologize. I'm trying to keep track of everyone, so it takes me a little bit of time here. Okay. I have, next up is Leanne's iPad.
Yeah, so
There
I
you
just
are.
wanted, thank you. I just wanted to reiterate some of the things that people were saying about the traffic. I live on West High Street. We're right close to the trains. I know originally they weren't necessarily going to be going all the time, but we have train traffic quite a bit. And at night past 9 o'clock. So I am concerned about the truck traffic. Also environmentally, pollution. I have a child, we like to go to the park. And the other concern that we had was also that we just heard about this a couple days ago. And as a taxpayer in the village, it's really important, I feel, that that should have been something brought to our attention at an earlier date. So I agree with those that are saying about a public referendum. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is lkakat@stny.rr.com.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Lori Andercott. I live on West High Street. I just have a few questions. I'm not sure how these are getting answered. These will be printed somewhere. Where will we find answers to our questions?
What?
And so my questions, has anyone noticed that the application that we were given, if anyone's looked at it, that the name of the company is incorrectly spelled? And I don't know if legally that's going to, they've got to put in a new application, if someone could look at that. I have concern about the parking. You're saying 97 parking spaces plus tractor trailer parking. So how many additional parking spaces will that require for the trucks that will be there? Also, you're claiming that your property will be dark sky compliant. What exactly does that mean? I have concerns for safety purposes that you're going to have huge parking pole lights on all night long on your trucks that may be there overnight. If they do not reroute and will be using Water Street, which I do hope that they are looking at some other alternatives coming off 86, will Tioga maintain and be responsible for Water Street and the infrastructure? There's got to be better access to that. And is Tioga looking at using the railroad that's going to be sitting right there in front of their proposed project? Like some people have already mentioned, that is very noisy as it is. There's a lot of trains there day and night, and I can't even imagine using it even more. And I agree we need a referendum. This is painted post wide, not just Water Street. And that's all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, next up is Mike Hanford. Mike, you have to unmute yourself if you're speaking.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying that I can't believe that Tioga would be in business this long and want to come and even entertain the area that we're in. If they had the consideration, they would already realize that this is a small little community. It's a village. It's clean. There's a lot of children driving up and down the street. There's a park right there, and it's all residences. And they know that big rigs are known for wrecking into cars, not being able to see trucks. What does that mean for pedestrians and small children on their bikes? They're not going to see them. If they can't see a truck or a car, then they're not going to see our children. Secondly, the 16 plus hours a day, I'm not going to go for that. I'm not going to have them coming in and out, honking their horns, blowing exhaust, idling in front of my home, which is only 30 feet from the street, while my kids are sleeping, while I'm eating. That means that I cannot have my windows open, my door. I lose any access to being outside because it's just going to stink continually up and down the street. We have the park right across the street that has the cement wall. That will already keep the emissions in. If they're not going to be able to flow, it's going to just stay locked in. And with the trucks going back and forth at 68 to 75, that puts at a round trip about 150 trucks a day, plus their vehicles for their employees. That comes out to more than 3.5 minutes. There's a truck or a Toyota employee going back and forth down the street. Not going to happen. We have a child care center up the street, like they said, and we love seeing the little kids walk across the street and they hold their hands, and I worry about them with just little cars. But as residents, we're already keen to our people, and we watch what we do, and we drive slow. We know that there's a park. Truckers don't do that. They cannot stop on a dime. If it's a snowy day and the roads are slick, they're not going to be able to stop at the stop sign or a stop light or a bump in the road. Anything that you add on Water Street is not going to make those cars stop when a child's standing in the middle of the street. And okay, a child shouldn't be in the street, but still, stuff happens. Things happen. Dog happens, kid happens, people happen. Stuff happens. Let's not borrow trouble by bringing this in. Third, we were not told. I had to go out there and hold a sign at the corner of the street and notify people that were not our immediate neighbors that did not receive this. We were deceived by the village. You guys were deceived by the village if you were not living on Water Street, because they did not inform you. Why? Because they already know it's a bad idea. I spent 23 minutes on the phone with the mayor. He could not answer my question as to what he was going to say to a mom when a child is wrapped underneath a 9-wheel truck. He couldn't answer me.
Ma'am, I'm going to need you to finish up. You're about a minute over. Please.
No. I'm just not for it, and I don't know how Tioga could do this. How they can even entertain it. And I want them to come back because I saw them outside talking, and they know who I am. So they can come back and visit me. And I heard their conversation, and they know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Thank you. Next up is Monica.
Hello, I'm Monica Wood. I also live on West Water Street, and I kind of concur with a lot what's said already. People have concerns about the traffic, safety, the noise, property values. But I want to read a couple things that my husband wanted to share. He has to work, so he can't be here. He has 2 comments. Number 1, in 2005, the planning board unanimously rejected a very similar 600,000 square foot facility proposal. The Hunt Engineering environmental study failed to convince the board that air pollution would not exceed allowable levels. A proper noise analysis was not conducted and not legally mandated, but some data was available. It indicated that excessive noise was likely. I hope that the current planning board will likewise exercise diligence in protecting all village residents. It is incumbent on the board to explain why this new proposal is acceptable when the last project was not. And the second comment is, since then another concern has arisen, namely vibration. On some days, particularly when the ground is frozen, our house vibrates when the trains go by. The windows rattle. I have noticed several cracks appearing in my foundation. It is hard to imagine that my house is the only one impacted by vibration. It would be good to discuss this with residents and ask the engineers about possible additional vibration impacts due to the proposed project. And that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is, and I know you have multiple people, the Naylor family. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, how many people do you have?
3.
3 to talk. Okay, go ahead. First one up.
Okay. We live on Brainerd, so this will be right in our backyard. And right now we already have trains that park there overnight. 2 sets of tracks. The one set that they park inside the fence where they used to fill up with water. So we have that noise. So my main concern is the noise added from the highway and these trains that are there constantly day and night, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, plus the lights and the noise from the new facility being there and the emissions. And many years ago when the foundry was there, back when I was a child, the emissions left the snow black. There were cinders all over the snow in this area from the emissions. And I realized that was many years ago and things have changed. I am very concerned also about the West Water Street and everything that's going on there. But my main thing is the lights and the noise from the trains that are already there. And will they be using the trains for anything in and out of the plant? But are the lights, our bedrooms are right there and the lights would shine into our bedroom. So those are my main concerns. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The other two have no comment.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Okay, next up is Nicole.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. My name is Nicole Astolfi, and I reside at 334 West Water Street. So I am probably part of the most highly impacted group of residents on West Water Street. I am Painted Post, born and raised. I left to pursue my education, and when I returned, I purposefully purchased a home in Painted Post. I am employed locally, I earn and spend my income locally, and I'm a proud participant of this community. However, I feel completely betrayed by the board and the leaders of this village. Your responsibility is to make the welfare of the residents of Painted Post a top priority. I purchased a home to raise my family in with intent because Painted Post reputation is that of a healthy, safe, happy, and caring community for all. All does not mean not the entire village or the entire village minus West Water Street. If you are for the welfare of all, why would only the residents on West Water Street not matter in this? How can you care for the welfare of every one of us, but expect us to accept your negligence? I purchased my dream home on a dead-end street across from a park where my children can play freely, and you expect me to change my lifestyle completely by accepting this proposal. I believe the proposal is reckless and gives no priority to the health and welfare of the residents of West Water Street. You have failed to present us with any environmental studies or data. Those studies would provide pertinent information on how our health could be impacted in our own homes. You have failed to prove how you intend to protect us in any capacity. My hometown has let me and my children down as we have known the village to have much higher standards than this. Please prove to us that the lives on West Water Street have the same value as any other life in the village and find another access. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Patrick Gage. Patrick?
Now you can hear me?
Oh, there you are. We can hear you.
Yeah, I reject the project. That's all I can say.
Okay. Any more comment?
Oh, that's it.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up is Patti Pickles.
Can you hear me?
I can. We all
Okay.
can.
Well, first of all, my concern is with the communication on this. And also, what is the positive of this whole? I have not heard anyone say what the positive is. What are the funds being earmarked for from the village point of view? Aging infrastructure, roads, water lines, similar to the now defunct water transfer station that was supposed to bring all this relief to us. Several years ago, they tried to dissolve the village and by merging it with the village of Gang, or with Gang Mills to share services, and the village fought and won because they were afraid we would lose our small village feel. How's this considered keeping that same small village feel by having all of these trucks going in and out? Whether it's on the edge of town or not, it's still a concern. I just want to know what the positive, nobody has said what the positive other than bringing jobs to the area, which the jobs are just truckers probably that are coming in and out. They're not really jobs in the village of Painted Post. So I'd just like to know the answers. And someone else asked earlier, you know, when are we going to find out answers to these questions? Backing right up to the communications again. No one knew about this meeting until it hit the news last night, or Nikki Astolfi put it on Facebook and brought a lot of people in. So God love you, girl, for doing that. So thank you.
Right.
That's it.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Phyllis, I'm unmuting you. Phyllis?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't want to go into a lot of just reiteration of everything that's said. I concur with everything that's said against this project. It was rejected in 2005, a similar project, and why is this any different other than the fact that the village is getting income from selling the property? I think you have to look at the whole picture of what the impact is going to be adversely on the village people. I go by the sign every day of Village of Painted Post, our hometown. I don't think we need this type of traffic and wear and tear on our infrastructure that's already depleted. And I think we need to do a lot more investigation as to whether this is the best opportunity for the sale of the property. I'm totally against it, and I thank everyone for your comments, and I'm glad that there's so much interest in this, and we need to defeat this. We need a public referendum on it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have a group, and I'm just realizing I'm trying to keep track of the chat as well, that they asked a little while ago about the more than one person. So you have I'm gonna ask them to unmute a group of 6 or 7 in public. It's just named public in chat. Can you unmute? And we'll give each person an opportunity. Maybe. All right, we can come back to you. Unless they're on. No? Okay, we will come back. All right. Next is Robert Manning.
Hi, it's actually Stephanie Manning on behalf of both of us. We are 448 and 444 West High Street. First of all, I'd like to thank you for offering this Zoom opportunity. I think this creates a widely accessible opportunity for communication amongst our residents, and I would like to see more of this moving forward. I think the village has a tremendous opportunity here to start becoming a little bit more transparent with our communication. This, once again, like many other things, has been communicated very poorly up until this point. And I applaud them for trying to communicate West Water Street because they are going to be greatly affected by this. We were not offered that same communication when the dog park was put behind our house. And there are some positive things to that and there's some negative things to that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We have an opportunity to make change moving forward and to encourage this digital communication like the Zoom that we're having now. The financial impact to our community, I'm concerned about that as what is the impact to the tax rolls? Is this going to be a one and done thing and maybe we'll see a little bit of trickle income, or are we going to see some significant long-term impact that is going to help save some of the tax burden on the community? How many actual jobs for the community is it going to create, or are we going to be transferring jobs from other communities and leaving our community out. Like to see some safety initiatives put in here. What is going to be the speed limit on that road? I know currently the village speed limit is a little bit too fast for this small community, especially here on West High Street, especially when it's not adhered to, when the traffic is increased. Back when school was in session and the middle school pickups happen, people speed up and down West High Street. I'm only imagining what's going to happen when the traffic on Water Street increases. The EH&S impact, the noise pollution, the air pollution, are we looking at taking samples of that and seeing how that is going to impact our community, as well as the shift times? What kind of road upkeep and infrastructure are we going to see, as well as the impact from the railroad? And most importantly, and near and dear to my heart, the accessibility of Hodgman Park. We all know that many people use it. The residents of this area use Hodgman Park quite frequently, and we have a lot of disabled residents that use that park, especially my daughter who's in a wheelchair. And how is she going to be safely be able to cross that street when we're having multiple 18-wheelers going up and down constantly? I fear for that. And I don't feel like our village has addressed any of that, as well as the children in general. I really think we're starting to fail our kids around here. There's not a whole lot for them to do anymore because they keep taking things away. So I'm very disappointed about that. And I'd like to see them come back with some real solutions if they're going to move forward with this. And finally, what kind of steward of the community is Tioga going to be to us? Because we have good relationships with the businesses in this community. Dresser Rand supports us quite frequently, and I want to know what Tioga is going to do for us, because they're going to take up a large piece of property in the village of Painted Post, and they need to be a part of that if they're going to come here. And that is all we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Scott Swimmingly. Scott?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, and it's Swimely, just so you
I'm sorry.
all the time. Don't worry about it. You know, definitely want to echo a lot of things that other people have said. But first off, you know, I commend Tioga Container for wanting to put this in our village. I know the opportunities for that property are few and far between, and it's really hard to find someone that is willing to go through, you know, the brownfield cleanup and do all those sorts of things. So, you know, on a positive note, I think it's great that they're taking the interest and trying to put something in there. But again, I think it comes back down to safety, number one. And number two, I'm in real estate. I sell residential, commercial, all of that stuff. And so I have a real keen sense of what these types of projects do to property values. You know, if you look at a place like Elmira Heights, or, you know, even in Elmira, like the homes that back up to these big shipping facilities and big manufacturing facilities, you know, the value is just not where it is in the village of Painted Post. I live on Brainerd Place, so yes, the train goes right behind my house at all hours of the day. I've become accustomed to that because really the noise level is not that high because they do go so slowly. But for all the people who have purchased here, that railroad is a pre-existing condition. Now, when we add a 600,000 square foot facility right outside my back windows, that changes the game considerably when it comes to resale values of these properties and how quickly they will sell. And, you know, just the days on market and the value will, you know, conversely go in opposite directions. So that's a concern of mine, obviously, because it's my business. But from a personal perspective, you know, looking out my back door, my back windows, and now, yeah, I see a vacant lot, which is okay, but I really don't want to see barbed wire in a big facility out back. That's aesthetic and probably the least of everybody's concerns here. But, you know, I really think that there is a use for that property, and is this type of facility the highest and best and safest use of that property? And I do want to say that having only a handful of residents being informed of the plan and having this information delivered to them in their mailboxes is an agreed under I don't even know the word I'm looking for right now, but seriously, the amount of transparency is paramount here. You can't try to railroad this through just because the planning board thinks it's good. You have to openly communicate with all of the residents of the village, not just those along the main street that will see these trucks all the time. Because as a residual, oh geez, sorry, I'm not good at being put
That's
on.
all right. We're actually, you're over your time by a little bit here. So if you have a final thing to say.
Again, I can see the positives and I can see the negatives of this. We just want more clearer communication.
All right, thank you. All right. Next up is Michelle Visconti. Can you hear me? Michelle? I was chatting with you, so you should be there. Hello, Michelle? All right, we're gonna come back to you, Michelle. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll come back to you. Okay, next up is Mary Diebold.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Right, so I own a house on Brainerd. It's rented right now. But I am, concerned about the same things, truck exhaust, safety, house value, all those things that a huge big business back there with lots of traffic would not be good for that area. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Stacy Johnson. Stacy?
Yep, I'm here. So again, I will echo what a lot of other people have already said. I think my biggest gripe with all of this is the lack of communication. I'm a Corning lifer, but I just moved to Painted Post about 3 years ago. I think it's a beautiful place to be, and I absolutely love the vibe here. But I pay way too much in taxes to not be informed about something this major. It is a tiny village, and I absolutely think that we need a public referendum. I need a say in this. I definitely see the positives. I see that this can bring jobs and the economic possibilities, but I also love the fact that you would be repurposing a property that otherwise would be difficult to fill. But I do not think that it has a place in a residential neighborhood where there are schools, preschools, parks nearby. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, let's try this again. Are you unmuted here? Can you hear me? There you are. It says you're unmuted. We can't hear you though. Michelle? Michelle? Michelle, why don't you,
No, you can't.
Oh, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There you are. Are you there? Michelle, I lost you again. Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm actually on my husband's computer because I can't get mine to work.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Okay, so sorry, let me move to another computer so it doesn't echo. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so I moved to the village of Painted Post in 2012. I purchased the home on West Water Street for $197,000. The home was purchased due to the historic quaintness of West Water Street, as well as being on a dead-end street across from the street from a park. My daughter rides her bike on the street and frequents Hodgman Park to play basketball and play lacrosse with friends. I chose to pay more property taxes to live in this village on a street like ours. I looked at many houses in Irwin with $3,000 less in taxes. At the time, I was unaware that there was a possibility that we could become a thoroughfare for tractor trailers. I have many concerns. I'm concerned about pollution and the footprint the trucking center will have on the health of my family. I'm an oncology nurse and see many patients with lung cancer due to air pollutants. Where are the environmental studies? I'm concerned about my daughter's safety when she's riding her bike down the street. Historically, during colonial days or RV events, trucks have no regard for appropriate residential speed limits. I'm concerned about the noise pollution this will have on the quality of life on West Water Street. Our homes are close to the road, and being older, we have older windows and less insulation than newer homes. The noise of the trucks will have a huge impact on my day sleeping nurse daughter and possibly mine if these trucks are working 16-hour days. I'm very concerned about my home and the homes in the village depreciating as this is my investment in the village. I'm very concerned that my village decided that only 7 to 10 residents would be informed about this project. I thought a village looked out for its neighbors. My current quality of life in the village is good. My neighbors and I enjoy dinners at the Central and buy gas and food at Vinnie's. This lifestyle may change. My questions to you. Are you voting tonight? If so, what? What is the first, why is this the first I've heard of this project when studies and purchase agreements are already in place? What is your timeline? The village wants to follow up, us as a village, we want to follow up meeting. This is not fair that we're doing this by Zoom and many of our residents are elderly. I feel that this is not an appropriate place to have a meeting that has such an impact on our village. Other thoughts, obviously the speed limit. Our law enforcement does not enforce speed on West Water Street. Am I going to be able to get on my driveway to get to work? There are 68 to 75 trucks a day coming down my street. Am I going to be able to back out to go to work? All village taxpayers should be involved. I don't know why only 7 to 10 village members got this letter. A reroute seems to be the only option. I feel like public referendum is also the only thing that we can do.
Michelle, if you can go ahead and finish up, you're over by about a minute here.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So just to make clear, because I can answer a question really quickly for everybody, there is not going to be a vote tonight. Stephanie had said that earlier, but there is not a vote tonight. This is just a public hearing tonight to take in comments so that we haven't even received final plans yet. So, okay, next up is Susan. Susan?
Yes, Susan.
Oh, there you are. Torino.
Yes,
there you go.
hi.
I knew I was going to say it wrong. That's the problem.
That's fine. Don't worry about it, Chelsea. Okay. I have a couple of questions and a couple of comments. I was actually contacted by the owner of the Crafting Cottage. I am a very frequent customer at the Crafting Cottage, both for classes, but also for retreats and booking the inn with small and large groups. And I have a lot of concern that myself and the other people who frequent that place will choose not to go there if there is traffic, if there's trucks going 16 hours a day. It is a beautiful old home. And, you know, I don't personally want to try to sleep when there's tractor trailers going up and down the road and making a lot of noise. Myself and other guests, we also are patrons of different restaurants right in Painted Post, anything from McDonald's for breakfast to the Central to some of the other shops and businesses in that area. We feel that we bring quite a substantial amount, at least in consumer funds to that area, and it would be a real shame if we had to take our business to other places, because we do seek that particular place out for its wonderful atmosphere. We love listening to the children playing in the park. We like the fact that we can walk up and down the street, and I feel that tractor trailers will just absolutely devastate that neighborhood. I cannot imagine being a homeowner or trying to be a homeowner on that street. I know it would detract me. I have significant concerns as a frontline medical professional as to how emergency vehicles will get in and out of that area in a timely fashion, which we all know that time is heart and time is brain. And so that's a big concern to me. And I'd like to know how they propose doing that. And I'd like to know if there's been any investigation, if something like this is to go through, that there could be a entrance to the highway to 86 going west instead of east. I'm not even sure of the land there and what's involved, but trying to make that 90-degree turn from West Water Street onto the other street and then another 90-degree turn or whatever when they go on to Route 86 does not seem like it's very, would be very easy for trucks. And I do feel, as many other people have mentioned, the pollution factor. I'm very concerned for all of those children in that daycare that are right near that intersection and trucks would be idling. So although I'm not a member of Painted Post, I know that I bring quite a bit of revenue to that area, and I would hate to see Painted Post go by the wayside because of something like this. And I hope that everybody gets their answers. I think it's absolute travesty that people were not notified of this in a timely fashion. I think that is totally irresponsible, and more people than just the folks that are on that one area, that one street. So I hope that you will have more of these meetings and get more information out. Thank you very much. I have no more comments.
Next up is Tracy Fitzgerald. Tracy?
Hi, yes.
There you are.
I just want to reiterate a lot of what everybody else is saying. I think I'm erring on the side of not going for this because of the fact that we were not notified. I think that's a little disturbing. I want to say that I too am a real estate agent, and although I have a lot of concerns in terms of the real estate market in this area, I also can speak personally because my family and I just moved to Painted Post about 1.5 years ago. We had a lot of different cities we could live in, and we decided on Painted Post because of the fact that it is small, it is quiet, it is quaint, and in my opinion, this will change the landscape and the feel of this village significantly. So I'm disturbed that we don't have more information. I don't have all of my information that I can use to make a good quality decision on this. But I also want to throw out there that I'm not saying that truck drivers are all the same. We are all not the same. But I will say that human trafficking is a problem. And I just want to throw that out there. I don't know where you want to go with that, but I think it's definitely one thing that hasn't been mentioned. And I'm not sure that we know enough about the jobs that are supposedly being created, because if these are people coming from other states, from other businesses, and they don't live in the village, I'm not sure I would let a stranger in my home. So I definitely am not sure I want to let a whole bunch of strangers in my village that I pay enough taxes for to kind of keep that quiet village feel. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Next up is Winquist.
Hey, my name is Dave Winquist. My wife and I and our 2 young boys live at 507 Park Place. And I've got some notes with a bunch of questions here. I do want to say I work locally. We spend our money locally trying to support small business and everything. And we especially want the communities in this little valley here to thrive. So, we're glad that Tioga is interested, and Painted Post Planning Board is open to thinking about how to use some abandoned property. But first we got to understand that as far as the residents know, this is only an economic increase, right? What value is Tioga, besides economic, bringing to the Painted Post Village? You know, has the Village of Painted Post offered any sort of tax break? I mean, other than proximity to 86 and an abandoned lot, you know, why is Tioga here in Painted Post? Again, there has not been, as far as I know, any sort of economic study released to determine what value it's bringing and how long that expected value is going to be around. Community outreach and involvement of Tioga as a company in the community, you know, if they're going to be here and they're employing a decent number of people in the community, they need to also be here and support the community. I would also say we need to consider other access rather than just a single in and out on West Water Street. You know, we can't look at, you know, maintaining those existing wetlands like Larson had showed on that plot plan just because of permitting pains, right? If the best solution is to go get federal permits for another service road on-ramp and off-ramp to 86, then that is the best solution rather than putting that sort of traffic through a village area. And I fully support having this be a public referendum. It is sad. You know, we live literally, you know, 1 block away from Hodgman Park. And again, the trains run 1 block away from our home. And the only way I knew about this is because I was driving to take my kids to Hodgman Park and I saw some signs that a local resident had put out in their front yard. So that's really disheartening. I thought that in a village this size, we would be able to be open and transparent, but apparently not. And I actually echo Tracy's sentiments exactly. It's an uncomfortable subject, but when you've got all sorts of trucking traffic with easy access to 86, human trafficking, the likelihood of that is going to increase. And I know I've got 2 7-year-old kids. If that were to go in, I would feel very uncomfortable letting them stay outside within sight of our own home and letting them play in the park. That's terrible. Property values, you know, I grew up around Niagara Falls. In the past 30 years, I've seen exactly what happens to Niagara Falls when big companies come in for the economic benefits of tax breaks and New York State, you know, rebuilding and revitalization grants. And we all know exactly how Niagara Falls is.
I'm gonna have you go ahead and say your last words or overtime.
Yep, last words right here. I mean, right now we're renting this home. We're looking to buy, and I do know that if that were to go in, we would not be buying our home in Painted Post. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, next up is David Fowler. David?
Hi, my name is David Fowler. I live at 220 West Water Street. We've lived here a long time. My concerns are the same as everyone else's. It's the safety, it's the park entrance, the noise, and our home values. What's going to happen to our home values? The other thing I wanted to say is some people have talked about, well, the foundry used to be there, but we lived here when the foundry was there. And yeah, it wasn't great, but it was car traffic. It wasn't tractor trailer traffic. There was an occasional truck. This is not the same. And for that, I'm just totally against it. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you. Next up is, and this person I wasn't able to talk to at the beginning, so just David. Is David available to talk? David? Hello? It looks like you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. All right, I'm gonna mute you, but I'll come back. All right. Okay, next is an iPhone number 542-2388. 542-2388. Any comments? All right. I'm going to move on. Next is iPhone Ralph iPhone Ralph. Any comments? All right, I'm gonna keep on going. Next is M Stratton iPad. M Stratton iPad. If anybody I'm calling out is having trouble communicating, you can use the chat function as well. Okay, moving on. Next person is NAIDA. NAIDA. Oh,
that's me.
That's you. Okay.
So Vicky Nada, where I live on Park Place. And I clearly remember when they turned this down before. And I believe that the reason that they turned this down before is because it is a brownfield. And it became in the possession of Painted Post somehow or another, which I don't know, because it's Ingersoll Rand property. And why they got away with walking away from a brownfield, I don't know. So that's the reason they're pushing for this, because there's nothing else they can put in this place, because it has to be paved over being a brownfield. And a warehouse and a trucking company is perfect for that. There's no other way that they can use it without spending a fortune. So that's my biggest concern, is we still have a brownfield underneath there. Secondly, it's totally inappropriate for where we are in a residential area with children. It is not safe, and I agree with everybody on all of that. And why would you destroy small businesses in this area to get that? There's an issue with the exhaust and many other things. My husband asked the question, why don't they use the value center area for this? But I believe that's because it's not, I believe it's not in the village of Painted Post. But without places like a fire exit, another exit in and out of that area, I think it's a big hazard for fires and all the trucking and all the gas and that's going on there. But I would like an answer to the question about why we're pushing for filling this property in, other than the village owns it now and they have to get some money off of it. Otherwise, it's all negative, and there better be a vote on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is PREIF. PREIF.
Yeah, I have no comment.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Next up is Megan, excuse me, Megan Shattuck. Megan?
Actually, my name is Jason Shattuck. I'm Megan's husband. I'm calling on her phone. And I appreciate giving the opportunity to speak. Although I do not live in the village of Painted Post currently, I have in the past. My family on both sides goes back 5 generations in this town. My mom specifically lives in the village of Painted Post now. Her mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandparents all lived in the village of Painted Post. Were born and raised there. My great-grandfather worked for Ingersoll Rand, and we have a big stake in the community. This is our village, not yours. We have the right to say what happens. If this trucking company comes in, it is going to be a secular event that is going to cause the downfall of the village. If you do not hold a vote and let us speak and let us have the opportunity to tell what's good for our community, not a select number of bureaucrats that only wants to line their own pockets, then you have another thing coming, and us as the voters will make sure you do not hold those positions any further. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, and I have a couple phone numbers here. 607 661 2471. 661 2471. You're unmuted.
I don't have any comments at this time.
All right, thank you. Next is 610-960-8657. So 8657.
No comments at this time.
Thank you. Next number is 951-252-3956. 3956, you're unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me now?
We can.
Great. Yeah, I've heard a lot of great points. A lot of the points I've not heard about, though, is that with putting this route through West Water Street, what's going to happen to our parades because they follow that route? I don't foresee them happening. Because if you got trucks that have an easement, they're going to have the right of way. We're not going to be able to have those parades. Also, too, what's that going to happen with the festival and colonial days we have over at the park? If we have cars coming up and down the route and they can't park in the park because everything's being used for everything is for the festivities, they're not going to be able to park on the side of the road just for a safety hazard. And who wants to have trucks driving by while you're trying to unload your kid out of the car? The other concern I have is that has a certificate of completion been issued, or has it been done, or what's the status of that on that brownfield project before they even start looking at doing any building? Also, too, nothing I've heard being talked about yet is in regards that if they have an accident over here on North Hamilton Street, what's the alternate route that these trucks are going to take? Are they going to come through the rest of our residential area in order to be able to drive back and forth? Let's see. Also, what was the engineering study done in regards to how this road's going to be done? This is a historical road. This is the first paved road in the city and in the area, and that brick road is the basis and foundation for this road. So is that going to be able to support high volume and heavyweight traffic? Also, too, how are they going to address their talk about being dark sky compliant? How are you going to be able to do that with your operating 16 hours a day? And we don't, on a good day, on a good day in the middle of the summer, you don't even get 16 hours. Also, too, in regards to the children crossing, safety and crossing over here, I see kids coming up and down Charles Street all day long, going over the ramps, going in and out of the park. When you have a semi truck coming through here on an average every 7 minutes, you're putting them at risk. So those are things I would like to have considered. Those are things I would like to have addressed, and those are things I would like to hear back on. I would like to see this go to referendum. Oh, one last thing. If this is not going to go to referendum and this does get pushed through, then what I would like to see is I would like to see them have a highway access only for their trucks and use West Water Street only for emergency vehicles in order to respond to that facility.
And your wife addressed that to the mayor and he didn't care.
My wife addressed that to the mayor, and she would still like to hear his thoughts on that. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up doesn't look like they have a microphone, so I have LINC. It doesn't allow me to unmute you. So if you want to put your comments in the chat, that would be great, or send comments to the village. Okay, so it looks like we've gone through everybody. If you have not been heard from, if you can put something in the chat, I'm going to go through the people that did not answer real quick. David, I left you unmuted. Never heard from you, David. There's just a handful of these. There was a group that said that they were in the chat, a group of folks. I've asked you to unmute. Any response?
It looks like the group that says in chat.
Mm-hmm. like opportunity.
Yeah.
If you want to put your comments in, actually, why don't you do this? If you can put your comments in the chat, you can put them directly to me, which is the host computer, or you can put it in here and I can read them out loud. And so, or we can submit them for the record. Tell me what you'd like to do. Next up is just one more chance. Phone number ending 2388. 2388. Okay. iPhone Ralph. iPhone Ralph. Almost done here. I just wanted to make sure I got everybody. Okay. Try David again. Okay, I'm gonna try. So I don't have you on mute, David, but I'm not hearing you at all. If you'd like to put your comments in the chat, I know it's not ideal. I'll be happy to read them out loud. If you look at your own screen, you can make sure you're not muted. If you look at the bottom, I think it's left-hand corner, there's a little microphone with a red X through it. If you click that, it'll unmute you. So from the public chat, would not like looking out my front or back window and see nothing but buildings. All right, at this point, I believe we've heard from everybody. If there's any additional comments, send them in the chat right now that we haven't heard from. I am saving the chat, so we will have that. And this has been recorded. And I did give recording to the media that's on here. All right. And we will be in communication. We'll have to talk about how to answer these questions. At this point, this was a point to hear from the point in time in which we hear from the public. I want to say the meeting's not ending yet. The planning board will have to do that. Stephanie and I are consultants. We're with Southern Tier Central Regional Planning Board, and we do planning for a living. But I will say this is unique. We've never had to do something specifically of this size. We had up to 75 participants at one point, and doing it remotely is a challenge for all of us. And I wanted to thank everybody for being unbelievably respectful and working through this with us on letting me take the time to get everybody's name down, because I wasn't sure how this would go. But I do feel like we heard from the public that was able to join, and I'm very happy about that. So thank you. So at that, I'm going to pass it back to Stephanie and make sure there's nothing else in the chat rail here.
I believe a lot of the questions that kept popping up, I was taking notes. So the more frequent questions, hopefully we can get, a FAQ or something out with some more information. Otherwise, I know we will, we have to discuss, but we'll have, the final documents and things up. As I said, and as Chelsea said before, we don't have the final documents yet. This is the public hearing. We had only a preliminary hearing about the project. So once we have more information, we will discuss on how to better distribute.
Yes, and just one question I saw, which I think Stephanie was going to go over, but everybody's asking when the next meeting is. And the next meeting is currently scheduled for July 1st at 5:15 p.m. there will be public notice. We submit it to the newspaper runs it. We ask that they run it ahead of time, but we're kind of at the whim of the paper. But that's our regularly scheduled planning board meeting. At this point in time, we do not have final documents to review. They have a couple weeks before they have to submit those. So that and there's another question about, is it in person or Google Meet again? I suspect we'll probably be in Zoom again, unfortunately, but that's the state of where we're at right now. So I'm going to pass it back to Stephanie if you have anything, or where we go from here.
So our next steps are the next meeting, again, July 1st. Right now it's scheduled for 5:15 that day. We're hoping that we would have final documents then that includes the environmental impact statement that addresses a lot of the environmental concerns that were discussed. Most importantly, the traffic study is being completed. We do have some more information regarding cost benefit and things like that. So hopefully once we get some more of that completed, we would have it available, and that will be discussed further at the final meeting. The intent of that meeting is to go over final environmental issues and whether we approve, deny, or the planning board approves, denies, or discusses modification of the application at that time.
Stephanie, the planning board needs to close this meeting, so I'm going to unmute the planning board.
Right.
I'm sorry, close the public hearing portion, not the meeting.
Oh, yes.
So planning board, I'm going to unmute you guys.
I move to close the public hearing.
I don't know.
So there's a motion to close the public hearing for Marcia Weber. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
I second it.
Okay. Lots of seconds.
I think
Okay.
it's Martha first.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm going to keep you guys on to finish up your meeting.
I think that's all that I had to close that.
Okay. You done?
All right, so I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
All right, now how do I make sure it's on?
You guys are all still on the microphone.
Leave it to Martha.
Good night, all.
Leave.
Top left.
Thank you.
Yep.
I don't know if the board and the mayor is selling us out.
Yeah.
Everybody, can I just kick everybody out? Is everybody comfortable with that?
Please do.
Okay. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.